preseason after that. So Coach, if you want to do the honors.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming today. We have a really special announcement. This is the first time we're doing this in this manner, but we have a new signing today, and it's a really special signing for our club, and we think it'll pay some dividends in the years to come. We are signing Jonathan Gomez. He's a 16-year-old youth international who, through the relationship of trying to build with him and his family, we feel like we found an excellent fit. So I'd like to bring Jonathan up right now, present him with his jersey. And I'd like his family and Brad and Danny Cruz, our technical director, to come up as well.
Good.
You guys want to
Get you guys to take one step this way. There we go. Perfect. Good.
All right.
All right.
Good. Now, Jonathan and I will answer some questions.
Excellent. Thank you all.
See?
And what his signing means for you.
So the first thing is that Jonathan's quality as a player attracted Danny and myself in terms of our scouting and our specific need to find a left back for this coming season and beyond. But more importantly was the idea of a project where we were able to get a young player and see if everything that we thought we could offer to a young player would fit that player's needs. And so, Jonathan had been on my radar for a while just from my experience with the youth national teams. One of my former assistants had coached Jonathan and said nothing but good things about him. And then really to get over the evaluation process, it was just some conversations with Jonathan in particular and his family, where for Danny and I, the importance of character and the person themselves. And I know sometimes we get a little bit of stick about that, but it really matters. And in particular, when you're talking about a young player, their mentality, their character, their personality, and them having a growth mindset is huge for us. And all of those boxes checked off along the way when we were dealing with Jonathan. And he came in early in the preseason, which we obviously didn't announce, and impressed us with his play on the field. Fit in really well. But again, he is a 16-year-old, and at the same time, he's a mature 16-year-old. And we feel like it's a perfect opportunity for us to grow, and really to help Jonathan reach his ultimate goals of becoming a pro for many, many years to come and playing at the highest possible level that he can. Jonathan, you have anything you want to add to that story?
Well, I want to say that obviously this is my first professional contract, so I'm very excited to get started, and I've always dreamed of becoming a professional since I was a kid, so obviously that dream has become a reality now. And ever since I got here to Louisville in preseason, I enjoyed the coaching staff, my teammates, and everything, and that helped me make my decision easier to sign.
I guess for either of you, just logistically, how does it work? Is your family coming up here? Who are you going to stay with? How do you handle that as a 16-year-old? And then, I guess the second part, what are the odds we see him in a game anytime soon?
I'll take a first crack and then let you have a look. It's a really good question, because when you're bringing a young player into this kind of environment, especially an older, more mature locker room, but his family came and visited, and we tried to make sure that they had every opportunity from a living standpoint to see where he would live, who he would be with, the schooling situation. We tried to go through all of the details that are unique to a young professional signing at this age. I hope we have done a good job. I think the fact that the Gomez family is here and obviously hugely supportive of what we're doing right now is a testament to the fact that we did that correctly. But it also, again, to go back to it, it puts a lot of responsibility on Jonathan's shoulders, which we have tried very hard to communicate to him that while it is a great honor to sign your first professional contract, this is hopefully the first of many for Jonathan. And that's really what this is about, trying to make sure that we do our job to help him develop not only as a soccer player but as a person. He definitely has the support of his family and that he has everything he needs to do those things. As far as seeing him on the field, I mean, I think we have arguably the best left back in this league in Oscar Emez, and he just happened to walk into the room, so welcome, Oscar. But that's also a great way for Jonathan to learn. He's literally going to, at the moment, be number 2 on the depth chart. So is there an opportunity for him to play? Absolutely. Does he have to beat out the best left back in the league to do so? Yes. But there's all kinds of situations that can arise. We know how many times Oscar likes to go in studs up, so there's always a chance that he could get carded. Oscar? That doesn't happen very often. But all of these situations mean that Jonathan needs to prepare, and he needs to be an understudy under Oscar and our staff and be ready for that. And then it's up to our staff to feel that it's the right time, the right game, so that he can grow. And that's a responsibility that we understand and have talked about a lot. And my own experience of how to do that with a young player, it has to be right, but you also have to be willing to take a little bit of a risk, because at the same time, we know that as a 16-year-old player being a first professional, it's not perfect. It never is. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be mistakes that are made, and we have to make sure that we understand those and are patient with Jonathan and his development that we will see and our fans will see right before their very eyes.
Jonathan, when was the first time that you saw JoGo City play? What do you like the most?
I think the very first time I saw them play was the USL Championship final last year. I was in Florida, and I happened to turn on the TV to see what was on, and I flipped to the game, and I think...
Were we winning?
No, you guys... Oh, I think it was 1-1. It was 1-1. And then they went down, you guys went down 2-1 before the half. And then...
We don't have to talk anymore about that. That's done.
Yeah.
That's in the past.
So that was the very first time I watched them play. And a few players stood out to me. And obviously, I mean, I liked the way they play. And I knew that Coach Hack, who had previously been with the national team, was the head coach. And, well, that was the first time that I watched them play.
Jonathan, to be so young, how exciting is this opportunity to not only sign your first professional contract, but also play for a team that wins?
Well, it's very exciting, actually. Very excited. As Coach said, that it's an older locker room, but there's a few teenagers, and obviously with the older experience in the locker room, that'll help me learn, and hopefully we can win another championship.
But have you already picked Oscar's brain about?
Well, actually, not really anything. It's been mostly him coming up to me and helping me or giving me advice. So that's it.
Good, excellent. All right. If we need more with Jonathan afterwards, we can certainly set that up. But we'll go ahead and dismiss him for now and get Hack by himself there.
We'll bring
Road there. Hack, do you want to start with an opening statement about NC?
Sure. North Carolina is a strong opponent. Our experience last year having this same opening day opponent obviously didn't go the way that we wanted. But I also think that we're now, with the knowledge of knowing that they're a good club, Dave Saracen does an excellent job, their head coach. This will now be his second season. Going to Raleigh will be difficult for us to start the season off. And at the same time, we hopefully will have learned some of our lessons from last year and can go there and get a result.
Thinking about the roster as a whole, a lot of the same guys. How will this season, this roster be similar and different than last year?
Well, we've tried to make sure that every player that we brought into the club this year was a targeted acquisition. I don't think there's anybody that we brought in that we didn't believe could make our team better. Jonathan is a perfect example of that. We didn't have a lot of needs, but we had some very specific positional needs, and I think we've addressed that across the board. And now, you can clearly see with the addition of Jonathan, now we have depth at every position, across the field as well.
And what goals do you have for the season? Is that something you talk with the team about?
Yeah, I mean, the goal here at Louisville City is very simple. We want to play for championships. We want to win. And that is a wonderful expectation, and also the responsibility of that. It doesn't get lost on any of us. So we work as hard as we possibly can. We reiterate those values and those standards throughout preseason. We have a unique situation with this building in particular that we don't get to open it until April 11th. So we're on the road for our first 4 games of the season. We have 1 weekend off, but that sets up as a really challenging part. So we've talked about having this initial early phase of the season and the first 4 games in particular. Well, we know we have to go on the road, and we really feel strongly that we have to get some results along the way to come back into this building where we open it against Birmingham, but then have Tampa and Red Bull. It doesn't get easier is what I'm trying to get at. And we'll have to be very strong from the very start.
I remember you or Oscar were able to say that the best team besides Louisville was Indy 11, and they were correct. Who do you think is going to be this year?
I think Indy's going to be really strong. I think Indy, and we play them, in the 4th game of the year away, and just they brought back the majority of their roster. They also made some excellent additions to their roster. They're a well-coached team. We know very well. They're an organization that I think has aspirations very similar to ours. So right away, I think you're looking at Indy as being one of those top teams. I think North Carolina has a chance to be one of those teams. Pittsburgh, I think, will be in the running for sure. And probably Tampa would be, off the top of my head, the teams that I would think right away have that best chance. I think Birmingham, incidentally, being the first game here, has done an excellent job of kind of reloading their roster. So games in this league across the board, though, there's so much parity in our league that every single game you play is difficult. We experienced that last year firsthand, and every game is a grind. So again, to go back to opening our season with 4 games on the road, we know that's going to be tough, but we also expect to get results during that phase.
Is the April 11th date a byproduct of wanting to get your own kind of featured weekend here in Louisville, or is it more about needing more time here at the stadium, or a little bit of both?
It was more of a timing situation about when we could open the stadium. To be fair, I mean, the league does the scheduling. We have requests that we put in, but at the real crux of it was, and it's been amazing, the fact that we're in this building now in early March is a testament to Messer and Harmon and the construction team, that they did such a wonderful job and met the deadlines that are, as everybody knows in construction, are rarely ever met, and here we are in this wonderful building. So it's pretty amazing that we're going to be not only opening on April 11th, but we will have this place, like you see, it'll be dialed in and ready to go.
John, what stands out about this team so far?
I think the fact that we have so much continuity from last year, but then we also have brought in the quality that we have. Cameron Lancaster is a perfect example of that. Corbin Bowen's a perfect example of that. Jimmy Ockford, I mean, we had specific needs, and when you bring in that type of quality, and Cam's back, right? He's on loan, but he knows, you know, those guys in the locker room. He knows what our culture is like. He knows what the expectation, and that's where I think with this team, we have, you know, a lot of continuity, and we have added a lot of quality too.
Health-wise, how is everybody? Are there any injuries?
Yeah, for the most part, we were able to get through preseason, and at the moment, everybody is healthy. So, knock on wood, if this is wood, is it wood? No,
Plastic, sorry.
All right, Danny,
Do
you
it
knock
later.
on your head first. No, we're good right now, so thankful for that. We definitely had a hard preseason. Oscar can tell you more about that when he steps up here. But at the same time, that's what you have.